Hello, 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 Ultimate Performance Community. Welcome to Live at 5 on this, the 13th day of April, a day after we'll long remember when we are slightly, here in the UK anyway, been slightly lifted of restrictions after what's been an intensely tough year. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me as always. Now all we need, obviously the daylight savings, we've moved forward in time a little bit. Well, in terms of daylight, especially now, all we need is some warmth to follow it. It's for those of you tuning in from other places around the world that's not the UK, it's still very cold here. So, as an Australian, very ready for it to be a little bit warmer. So, thanks for tuning in. For those of you who are new to the Ultimate Performance community, welcome. My name's Daniel Koek. I'm a performer, but also a performance and vocal coach. And I've created this group with as a free resource for lots of tips and tricks for performers, actors, singers, speakers, and presenters who are looking to discover their ultimate performance. So welcome to you all. Welcome to you newcomers. Shout out in the group. Say hello to me. We're not shy. I'm not shy. You're not shy. So thank you very much. So today we're going to have a brief look at a subject called biohacking. Now, we're not going to go too deep into it, and by no means am I going to say that you must implement these things into your daily life to be a better performer. But they're things that I've tried over the years, various elements of these things in various combinations that I've tried to kind of lift my game. Hi Wayne, nice to see you in the group. A little bit in terms of, my feelings, my energy levels, and all that kind of thing. So it's by no means like a space-aged approach to kind of, implants and things, although biohacking in its most extreme form is definitely going that way. This is just a really kind of holistic, natural approach to things you can implement into your daily life. Try a few different things and see if it kind of works for you. Now, before we do that, I know we had a poll this week in the group about a free resource. Which free resource did you want to see me provide you with? And I'm very pleased to say that the poll came in trumps on overcoming vocal breaks. So for those of you who voted for overcoming vocal breaks, if you'd like to DM, there's a post in the group. If you'd like to DM the group with like a yes please or a yes I'd like it, and even if you didn't vote for that one, I'm not going to hold that against you. There is now a free bite-sized mini resource about overcoming your vocal breaks. If you'd like to see it, DM in the group saying yes please, or comment in the group rather, and I'll send you the bite-sized PDF as a resource in your inbox. So don't forget to do that if you'd like a bite-sized little chunk on overcoming vocal breaks, which is also one of the modules in the Ultimate Performance Academy. Now, for those of you who don't know anything about biohacking can be as simple as, looking at your sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? Is the sleep you're getting restful, restorative sleep? Are you waking feeling refreshed? Are you drinking enough water? Are you eating the right foods? Are you getting enough nutrients out of the foods you're eating? And if not, do we need to look at ways, or do you need to look at ways at supplementing things that you're not getting from your diet? It's all very small, incremental changes. As you know, I'm a mini habit builder that you can try on a day-to-day basis that can potentially restore things like energy levels and cognitive function, and things just getting you kind of feeling back on track, especially after the year we've just had. This very sedentary year we've had, a lot of sitting down, probably the odd too many alcoholic beverages. All of these things add up and leave us feeling sluggish. So I'm just going to go over a couple small ways today that you can maybe try and implement into your daily life that might increase your energy levels. Because as you know, I'm a firm believer in the athletic actor, in the athletic performer. We're nothing short of athletes when we're performing at our best. And I believe that everything just needs to work in tandem to be able to do so. Our voice is part of us, is our instrument. It's a muscle. It's attached to the rest of us. Without breath, there is no life. Without breath, there is no sound. So breath work is a major one to look at from a starting point. You need to look at your style of breathing. Are we doing nose breathing? Are we breathing diaphragmatically? I think I think a lot of my clients have come to me this year and said, "Oh, my anxiety is through the roof." And look, I've been there. We've all been there in this time during this year. And the thing I say to them is have a look, kind of look back to where your breath is. And I think the anxiety stems from the fact that sometimes we start to breathe very shallow and up here. And the more you breathe up there, the less breath you actually get in until you're too full of breath and over oxygenated, and you start kind of feeling, seeing little stars, and when major anxiety can turn into panic attacks by this shallow breathing. So restorative deep breathing is kind of number one on my list. The other one is cryotherapy. Now I know these terms are kind of big and maybe a bit scary, but it's effectively a cold shower, and this is all I'm really suggesting. I mean, cryotherapy, I don't know if any of you out there have heard of Wim Hof. He's a very, very elite Dutchman, and we like the Dutch. I'm half Dutch, for those of you who didn't know. He has come up with the Wim Hof method of breathing, but also in combination with cryotherapy, which is effectively submersing yourself in ice cold water for kind of varying lengths of time. What it does when your body it's called a vasoconstriction. So basically when your body gets super cold, everything constricts and shuts down, so that when your body returns to normal temperature, so it's when you get out, there's a rush of blood back to your tissues, which brings a lot of nutrients and minerals back. So that's the science behind it. It's a vasoconstriction, and then a release. So it's moving through toxins, and obviously you hydrate lots, so you pee them out and that kind of thing. Again, I'm not really suggesting that you submerge yourself in an ice bath, but what you could do is implement just the cold tap at the end of your shower, or alternate cold and hot. If the idea of this is just completely not thrilling you at all, give yourself give yourself a 5-minute cold blast at the end of your shower, and just see, albeit it's going to be cold if you're not used to it. Like I like a really hot shower, for example. But a short burst at the end as a starting point to see how you feel in terms of that vasoconstriction and how everything opens up afterwards. You will feel revitalized, I can assure you. So give it a try. The other thing is compression therapy. Now again, this is about your lymphatic system. If we don't, and the kind of analogy for this is, if we don't get the dirt out of our gas tanks, the fuel isn't going to work properly. So our lymphatic system is kind of like the sewerage system of the body. So every now and then it needs like a little bit of a clean out. When we get waste like lactic acid that builds up from working out and from natural bodily processes, compression therapy includes blood flow to certain parts of the body, flushing out toxins and speeding up recovery. Again, unlike cryotherapy, where you can kind of turn on a cold shower at the end of the day, this one's a little bit harder to kind of implement, and it's not only for the celebrities. I know Tony Robbins and Zac Efron and people like that are a big fan of this one. There is a place here in London that I go to, and I can highly suggest it. And this is a little plug for Hypoxia Training Centre in Knightsbridge. Hypoxia is in essence, it's compression. So the machine I get on is effectively it's a giant wetsuit, and it's very tight, and around it it's got these kind of aeration bubbles. And what happens is you're zipped into this suit, and the suit is then aspirated. So there's these pipes that are hooked onto it to suck all of the air out of the suit. So your body's effectively under pressure. So, and being is that your body's under pressure, there's already like a slight strain on your body. Obviously your heart rate goes up, your temperature rises because you're in this suit, it creates heat. On top of that, then you get on a treadmill for half an hour. So I find it super, super good for also maintaining specific weight goals. Check them out. They're called Hypoxia in Knightsbridge. I'm sure there's more than just one Hypoxia. It's a global brand around the world. But it's certainly a good way of feeling like revitalized. It's a good way of mixing up your training, obviously in between weights and swimming and the breath work and all the things that I do. I just find it a very good way of really draining the lymphatic system, but also having a good sweat as well. So have a look at that one. What else have we got here? Biohacking your diet. This is one that is really easily and readily available to everyone. So By that, I also mean you could try intermittent fasting. Now, again, like cold showers, I think people recoil at this, and I, for one, get hangry. So it's not one that I found super easy over the time. But if you could get the hang of it in terms of your own, I guess, molecular structure, if you will, and what you can handle. If you're going to exercise, if exercise is a major part of your day, and by that I mean even long walks or whatever, you do have to time it kind of well in terms of when you eat and how much. Essentially, even if you can break down 3 bigger meals into 5 a day, that is essentially a great starting point for this, because your body's like only digesting small amounts of food and kind of often rather than big chunks of time. But for example, if I'm going to do an intermittent fast, I will try and have my last meal at no later than 8 o'clock, and then I won't eat again until midday the next day. When you're starting off, try 10, try 11 and build yourself up. I'll have lemony water in the morning, so hot water and lemon. I'll have apple cider vinegar in hot water, which is a good detoxifier and a flusher outer of the system. I'll also have coffee. Coffee's good sparkling water, makes you feel fuller than you really are. So try it in varying states. Obviously, some people go through, like, they'll have their last meal at 8, and some people go through to 2. I find that a bit of a struggle for me in terms of my daily life and my coaching and the way I like to exercise, and now I've got a puppy, I like to walk him, etc. It's just about maintaining your energy levels, but you do feel, you will feel better for it. There's a number of, obviously, benefits from that. When you fast, you increase your levels of growth hormone as much as 5 times their normal rate, which boosts your metabolic rate, which I find just amazing. Increases your level of growth hormone. Fasting can also reduce your insulin resistance, which lowers your blood sugar and makes stored body fat more accessible to burn. Some experts indicate that intermittent fasting may also reduce LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol, which is a known risk factor when it comes to heart disease, for example. So give that one a try. On that one, I will also say, this is not like a point in itself, but I will also say adequate hydration. We just don't drink enough water. And that can be like herbal teas, not necessarily coffee, because coffee's a diuretic and it can quite dehydrating. But I try and get through, especially in the warmer months, I'll try and get through 6 to 7 of these a day. This is 750 ml. It really does. Also, when you're hungry, when you feel hunger, 9 times out of 10, it will be thirst. So make sure you're adequately hydrated. And again, your voice is part of, is a muscular function from the vessel that is us. So we need to look after it. So one for biohacking your brain, which is like functional music. And by this, I mean just getting, in its infinite stages of what this is all about, it's about, functional music in terms of the deep, hardcore rootedness of biohacking. Is they look at frequencies of sounds and binaural beats and tones to synchronize your brain waves and introduce a meditative state. I just simply tell Alexa to put on some ambient beats or something relaxing or something with a little bit droning. Get out of your head, get out of your screen. Screen time is another thing that's massively detriment to a healthy sleep process. This is why I wear these a lot at the minute. Also, my eyes are failing as I get older, but they have an anti-glare on them and they have an anti-blue light, because blue light is the thing that kind of keeps us awake and keeps our brain ticking over, specifically when we're trying to go to sleep. Try and limit your screen time a little bit before you go to bed as well. Just, plug it in, turn it on Do Not Disturb. Try and get through a few pages of a book. Talk to your partner, pat the puppy. Just don't be in your phone. But getting back to the music, just simply something that is relaxing you. I don't, I have the radio on sometimes in between coaching or while I'm doing my admin. But just finding a beat or taking myself back to my classical musical days when I was doing a classical musical degree in little old Adelaide in South Australia. It's just some music that I grew up with or I studied that transports me back. And I think music is timeless in that way, and we should all kind of look to it when we feeling down and kind of need a bit of a lift. Biohacking your mindset, so being grateful. I'm a big believer of this and a big believer of journaling as well, and also as part of the Ultimate Performance Academy, which is a 12-week course that I run. I have a gratitude journal. I also kind of, while it's not part of the curriculum, I also work very closely with a book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, which is essentially trying to unblock artists in terms of writing and creativity, but it also stems from being grateful. And small, tiny, incremental bits of being grateful could just involve putting your feet on the floor in the morning and saying, I'm thankful for this day, I'm thankful that the sun is shining, albeit not very much here at the minute. Being grateful, you'll find, if you can turn the frown upside down into sometimes you've been having a bad day, being grateful will make you have a positive mindset, I can guarantee it. So maybe try that one. And lastly, the one I'll talk about just a little bit, and more of this is covered in a really deep module in the Ultimate Performance Academy by a wonderful doctor who's called Dr. Denise Bernardini. And those of you who are new to the group, please revert back to like one of the first trainings in this group. And Dr. Bernardini is just a wonderful professor of the voice and biohacking and supplements and nutrients. But, you know, exercise, eating right, and developing the right minds are important steps to unlocking an extraordinary life. But sometimes we need to just kind of up the ante with a bit of that. And there's kind of high quality supplements available. You know, we have Holland & Barrett now, we have Planet Organic. Obviously, most of these shops you have to remortgage the house for when you go in there. But just little things like a daily multivitamin. I have started taking magnesium for kind of muscle cramps and a sore neck from an old water skiing injury that I had from years ago. There's a supplement called Gaba, which is a good one for cognitive brain function, lifts that kind of fog if you're having kind of one of those foggy days that stem from you having a bad night's sleep, for example. 5-HTP also works great with cognitive function, also quite restorative if you've had maybe too many glasses of wine over the weekend. Little things like that. Obviously, I'm not a medical expert in this field. I know what works for me over the years that I've tried these things for, but have a little kind of look and a read up on all of this stuff. And kind of just maybe try some things incrementally into your daily life and see what might work for you. We've got a question from Wayne. Hey Dan, with the diet and exercise themes of biohacking, do you think it's okay to go ahead and start introducing certain practices, etc., into your routine, or is it necessary to speak to your doctor GP first? Look, again, disclaimer, I'm not a medical doctor by any means. If you want to start some gentle training again, like obviously the gyms have just opened. I bought a new pair of trainers yesterday. I went to the gym. I had a swim. I've started off everything very gentle again. But I've never stopped taking my supplements throughout this whole thing because I know like the before and after difference for me in terms of daily life and what I've got to do and write and produce and coach and all the kind of things. But definitely, I mean, go and see your doctor. Go see, ask the people at like Planet Organic or what's the name of it, Holland & Barrett. Supplements are, you know, most of them are herbal. I mean, it's all herbs really, but a lot of it is mineral based and vitamin based. But if you are in any way, shape, or form concerned, and it's going to be a major shift from what you're currently doing in terms of your daily life, then definitely go and get some advice about. I'm thinking about incrementally doing this, changing this. This makes me feel sluggish when I go eat it. The other thing you can do is maybe go and have some allergy tests or intolerance tests. If you know that after you eat certain foods, you feel a specific way, or your energy levels are low, or you get brain fog, or you find it hard to concentrate, you may very well be intolerant to something. So I would highly recommend going and getting seen and tested. They do this thing called the scratch test, where they just put little scratch marks on your arm and introduce little things like gluten, caffeine, dairy, all that kind of thing. It's super uninvasive, is that a word? It's not very invasive at all, and you just come up, if you're intolerant to something, you come up with a little red mark, basically. And then you know to kind of steer clear of those foods, because if that's what's doing it on the outside of our skin, imagine what it's doing to us internally. And of course, you obviously feel that way for a certain reason. So yes, routinely, and also we've been locked indoors for nearly a year. So I guess if you haven't seen, if you want to go and see a health care professional and you think it's time, it's probably time because it's been a year. So I'll just reiterate specifically, if you're going to change major aspects of your daily life, in including any or all of these things that I've discussed, I would, as a disclaimer, go and see a doctor first. So I hope that answers your questions. So I think that's all for now, unless we've got any more questions. I've been rambling on long enough, I think. As always, if you'd like to know any more information about what it looks like to work with me in a more detailed way in the Ultimate Performance Academy, leave me a little message here or DM me and we can jump on a call and I can explain how that looks like. But other than that, it's a police car going past. Other than that, I hope you all have an amazing week. Hope that hopefully the sun starts shining and it warms up a little bit more here in the UK, but I hope the sun is shining wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to seeing you next week with a very special guest, TBC. So that's all from me. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.